Hey everyone, welcome back, and I hope you all are enjoying your summer so far. So, I want to keep this episode short and I want to address mass deportations. I'm also going to talk a little bit about partisan politics, the Uniparty, and Israel. So, diving in. We've been promised since 2015 that we were going to have a big, beautiful wall on our southern border. Trump would say walls and wheels, two things that will never go out of style. Now, the wall is obviously important because we need a physical barrier. And once it's up, no one in their right mind would ever campaign to tear it down. We got some wall, but we didn't get what we were promised. And Mexico still hasn't paid for it. And I doubt their Jewish president ever will pay for it. And today we may get some deportations, but we're not getting what we were promised. We were promised by Trump on the campaign trail leading into the 2024 election the largest mass deportation effort of illegal migrants the nation has ever seen. Right now, we're witnessing maybe the smallest effort ever. We got girl boss Kristi Noem out the gate posing with machine guns for social media posts. We got ICE retreating from our major cities. And now we have the Supreme Court saying we can kick out Haitians who aren't supposed to be here, but the administration is floating this self-deport for $2,600 idea, and also maybe if you apply to stay, you can. They're taking this approach because they're banking on white populists on the right that voted Trump all three times will be happy with the rhetoric. They're also taking the soft approach because the Republican Party is trying to expand its reach into non-white voting blocs. So they calculate a bunch of photos and videos of the Republicans deporting black and brown people will hurt their reach with non-white voters come 2028. So the rhetoric is geared to gatekeep white people in the Republican Party, and the inaction or softball approach is geared to not piss off black and brown voters they'll need down the road because they understand that the racial demographics of this nation are changing to become majority non-white in the next decade or so. Remember Trump in the 2024 debates? The TikToks that came from this moment right here. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. Yeah. Springfield, Ohio. It became this whole thing. And my home state of Ohio is a perfect test case for this topic. So, former Republican Ohio Governor John Kasich has spoken out against deporting Haitians from Ohio. So has current Republican Ohio Governor Mike DeWine. Now, one would wonder why these Republicans are against this. Could it be they have financial motive keeping these temporary migrants here? I can't allege that they do. Maybe the corporate interests are very happy with the cheap labor. Maybe there's a bigger plan at play here. Maybe the motive is more political. Maybe they want to help build up Indian candidate for governor Vivek Ramaswamy. Maybe Kasich and DeWine, who have no more political career ahead of them, are acting weak on purpose. Maybe it's calculated. Maybe they're giving Vivek an opportunity to show strength and say, I'll go against the establishment on this and I'll get them out of Ohio. It'll give him an opportunity to gain support among the white populists in Ohio that aren't enthusiastic about his campaign. And there are many of them that aren't. Kasich and DeWine are falling on their swords on this issue for Vivek on purpose. They're giving him an opportunity to say he'll do what these men didn't. But don't be fooled. Vivek Ramaswamy has no intention whatsoever to drive illegal migrants from Ohio. And the Trump administration, the GOP, and the Democrats all have no desire to deport illegal migrants from the United States. Now, It's obvious why the Democrats aren't in favor of mass deportations. They are the party that absorbs any non white voter and white people who hate white people. And for whatever reason, some boomers still believe the Democrat Party is still the party for the line worker in the old Michigan GM plant that doesn't exist anymore because it shipped its jobs overseas decades ago. And Republicans oppose mass deportation because they need non white voters too. Notice how Myra Flores stated a few months ago that Latinos can save conservatism, bring more Latinos into the conservative movement. How do you do that? You offer them employment opportunities coming at the expense of the white worker, and you float ideas like amnesty because the overwhelming majority of Latinos aren't joining a movement that's in favor of mass deportations. Obviously. So when you take a look at your parties, you have multicultural partisan politics on the left and multicultural, multiracial partisan politics on the right. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the uniparty. If the makeup of the electorate is the same on both sides, then the parties are the same, minus just a few little details. Now, white people particularly, I need you to hear me loud and clear on this. You are being played by Republicans on the issue of mass deportations. Democrats spent decades keeping black voters Democrat because they would promise them black job opportunities, expanded welfare and social safety nets, and today, criminal justice reform. They have been promising those things exclusively to blacks to keep them voting Democrat over the past several decades. Mass deportations is that issue used by Republicans today to keep whites in the Republican Party, in the same way Democrats gatekeep blacks. They are never going to fix this illegal migration problem. If they fixed it, they won't be able to campaign on it in the future. They want you outraged at the migrant. They want you to hate the migrant that was let in by both parties, and not deported by either party. The two-party theater is Democrats say they want the migrant to stay, and Republicans say they want him to leave. But both sides want him to stay, because it keeps the vote split down the middle. And when the vote is split, the partisan system seems necessary. Politicians aren't about solving problems. If they solve the problems, they'd have nothing to campaign on next cycle. That's how the uniparty functions. They're deliberately established to be ineffective. The intel community and permanent bureaucracy run the country, and those people don't have to campaign. You're also given candidates to vote for that seem like they're the least of two evils. Let me explain, and I'll use Israel as an example. This will also explain why you need to be wary of any candidate promising mass deportations on the right. Right now, there is this strange alliance between the left and right on Israel. You have communists and LGBTQ activists actively opposing Israel. You also have the farthest to the right, white populists opposing Israel. Two groups you would never think would find common ground. Two groups the establishment, uniparty, dual party system, whatever you want to call it, two groups that could hypothetically form a supermajority around this one issue. But it will never happen by design, nor do we want to align with a bunch of communists. And mass deportations is the issue to keep the divide. The left will never go for mass deportations. They want infinity third world migrants and LGBTQ everything. You may love their anti Israel stance, but that isn't enough to win a vote from someone on the right. And leftists will never vote for mass deportations, even if they agree with the right wing populists on Israel. So, to conclude, mass deportation will never happen because it is the issue that will keep the voters divided. Mainly white voters. Right wing voters will continue to vote to the right, even if it's pro Israel, with the hopes of getting some deportations. This is why Israel keeps its claws in the right. And mass deportations is the issue used to gatekeep whites on that side. So, again, I just want to make sure you hear me. We are not voting our way to mass deportations. Definitely not in this system. Even based potential 2028 candidates like Thomas Massie aren't giving us that. Libertarians are actually terrible at this issue. They will call for the entire US military to return home from everywhere they are in the world so they can defend America. And once those soldiers come home and people want those soldiers on the borders, libertarians shit their pants and rant about how we can't have standing armies on US soil. Massie is not our savior here, no matter how based his Israel stance is. You'll have libertarians screaming about needing warrants to arrest illegals. These are the same people that want anchor babies to have guns and don't see any issue with mentally ill trans people owning machine guns because the Second Amendment and slippery slope and whatnot. I don't know about you, but I don't want anchor babies or trans people owning machine guns. This issue of mass deportations and so many more issues are racial issues, not political ones. White people need to unite on these issues. After all, we are the ones being replaced. We can unite along racial lines and end the two-party system and form a majority and perhaps get the mass deportations necessary to save our home. Let's figure out how to begin doing that together. Thank you for tuning in.